Found a pretty interesting video here. Yeah, there's a lot of spiritual content creators out there saying the same thing. That at this point in time, normal people have missed so fucking much that if you are not willing to go through proper initiations, if you're not willing to do things like ayahuasca trip journeys, or if you don't have any experience with shrooms or trippy shit, like I've done me some drugs in my life, but I have never liked scary movies or the idea of tripping. That's kind of working against people at this point. And even at this point, I still, like, I literally can't even fucking imagine tripping. So, you know, I feel like the way I've bopped around this last year is pretty much the best that anybody could expect to hope for if you have no fucking clue what's going on and are not into just sucking it up and understanding that we are in a video game type reality. And there's lots and lots of people connected to much bigger entities out there, and they know it. And I think it's cool to have an eclectic palette to look at. Like, I've kind of been saying it the whole time. I knew pretty much from the gate who sounded like they knew what the fuck they were talking about. Although I didn't understand a word they were saying because I was just too busy, for a long time in my life watching Fox News and Joey Diaz videos, It's blue cheese with your wings or go fuck your mother, I mean, I was never even aware that any of this shit was being talked about. So, I couldn't understand a word any of these people were fucking saying. But just because I could not understand what the fuck these people were saying did not mean and does not mean that they don't know what they're fucking talking about. If you don't start budging your mind and trying to just accept the fact that there's a lot of shit you were intentionally blinded from, and the more mad that you would be about all of the things that these people are talking about being possible, the more pissed off you would feel if all of this shit was pretty accurate and what you believe is actually a form of brainwashing. Wouldn't you be pissed? Wouldn't you be fucking pissed? Because if so, you're going to have to learn how to keep it cool. But I like watching people who are not coming from the same viewpoint. I know who to throw in a room, and let's hear these people talk. Let's get some great spiritual debates going on, and let's put all the big kids in one room and let them fucking discuss these things. Kind of shit,
I get a lot of questions. Some people don't understand this or whatever. So I'm going to answer people's questions today and at a future date, in addition to the questions that you've had set aside.
Great. Yeah. There's so many interesting things in this community that have almost been, I don't know if it's that the entertainment industry has been afraid or just unaware of how they could possibly talk about someone like James Gill, and it's almost like his information is so it's so in your face that you can actually just make contact that easily. That all the mystery is almost just goes away because it's like he's living it so much.
Yeah, he's had people out on the ranch that were parts, that were connected, in Hollywood and doing these types of shows, and they just don't focus on what the real story is. And that's what our showrunner said in a couple of these interviews we've done with production companies. They're not showing the authentic story that's going on out at the ranch. And he has, quite a story to tell over decades. And, and it's going to lead off into the other mountain ranges out there. He is surrounded by incredible locations that have all sorts of paranormal histories behind them. The Cascadia, I think it's the mountain range that Mount Adams is a part of. There's Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens. And all four of those are volcanoes. A lot of people don't know. And volcanoes are connected to the global grid and portal systems. There's a big connection. And, Kenneth Arnold in 1947 saw the modern UFO, had the modern UFO sighting of a fleet of craft that he said skipped like saucers on the water. And that's where flying saucers, that's where it was coined, was right in the mountain range that you can see from his mountain, Mount Adams. In Mount Hood, there's so much missing people, Bigfoot, other weird cryptids, higher numbers of hauntings and stronger types of hauntings in some of those regions that has to do with the energetics of the mountains. So, yeah, we're looking forward to really covering this in a very fun way. It's not going to be totally scientific. We're going to cover the scientific, but we're also going to look into the woo-woo, as they say in these interviews I keep going. I've been on. They keep calling the subject woo-woo. But, I think this is a time to where people, with all the UAP news that's been coming out, people are curious who wouldn't normally be curious. So people who wouldn't normally look at a movie or a TV show with the title ESETI Ranch Portals, a lot more are beginning to open up to it, and they may watch the show, on a whim, and then be pulled further into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's so great. And it is also great to be able to transform the current state of the community and what people kind of think of as the community, because the community of people who are interested in these subjects is so much vastly larger than the number of people who know about you or know about disclosure events or conferences that are happening. Like these events are very, very tiny compared to the overall population that is interested.
It's literally preaching to the choir. If you just stay within the community, putting your message out to the community, you're preaching to the choir. You're not getting out there and making a difference. You're not working for actual disclosure. It just becomes like a club thank you, Sudi, or a religion.
Yeah. Corey, I would really like to ask you, so it seems like your life, you're shown a lot of things, just about humanity in general, to kind of prepare you to be like almost like a model of this. This is just humanity right now. It's almost like you're a mirror for so many aspects of our consciousness because of what you're synchronistically shown. And I wanted to ask you about your history with religion and what specifically you saw in religious contexts, because it seems as though that just is showing you about what just happens with people in general when there's unusual, crazy beliefs.
Yeah, I was raised, my grandfather was a minister. My parents divorced when I was, like 5. And so we moved in, and he was a big part of my life up until teenage years. And a big part of him is a part of me. I even went to school where I met Stacy at Southern Nazarene University to be a minister. So I definitely have that lens. And so the question is, Blue Avians and the others, when they communicated information to me, did I interpret that through my lens of perception and alter it in any way? Or did they give the information to me in a way that they knew I would understand according to my lens of perception? So, that's the big thing right now. We have so many people out there. I'm in touch with the Pleiadians. I'm in touch with the Galactic Federation. Nobody else but me, Galactic Federation. And it's all turned into a pseudo-religious movement. It's not disclosure. So, I have moved away from sharing certain types of information. I have, just because I have seen how most of the community consumes it and what they do with it. And it is bizarre. It is bizarre. It has not been received as intended. It's not just the community, it's the human condition. We're so programmed to turn everything into a religion, to look for a savior. And man, has this community done that. They've turned this disclosure movement into a religion. Extraterrestrials have taken the place of angels and demons. The universe is God. And they're all about creating their own timeline or future to where all of these beautiful esoteric things come true. But, I've told people from the beginning, disclosure is a messy, scary, horrifying process. It's not a kumbaya moment. This stuff that's going to come out there's going to be scary stuff. And just because there's scary stuff doesn't mean it's fear porn and from the dark side and being used to control us. These people that are whistleblowers, there are like 30 or 40 more that are working with Rush. And they're going to be coming out over the months. These people are coming out giving true disclosures. Where the spin happens is after it leaves their lips, and then you have the media or people on the internet that believe all aliens are good, or people on the internet that believe this or that. Everyone has an interest in spinning that information to match their narrative. Everyone. That is how compromised humanity is on this topic. And, if you have made a religion of the Galactic Federation or these different ETs or whatever, more power to you. You have every right in the world to do so. But people need to learn to separate that from what is happening here in the real world, the disclosures that are coming out. These people are risking their lives. I know for a fact that multiple times they've been denied skiff rooms to give this classified information over to Congress. There's a group working within the government to prevent this congressional law from passing, whistleblower law having to do with UFOs. They expect that to be held up. There's a major pushback happening from within the government, and the question is why? They're either spinning it or denying it. But what you really need to pay attention to is when the information comes out, who is saying what. If you subscribe to the Galactic Federation or Pleiadians or whatever these different groups, religions basically that have popped up in ufology, and the minute you hear that, you think of this character on the internet that has sparkly eyes and talks love and light and talks about how they're coming here to save us from the Greys and all of that. And the minute you hear you've been poisoned, once you've bought into all of this certain type of mumbo jumbo of co-creating the next timeline, you're missing out on what's happening on this timeline. And it's a mess. It's a mess. And the general population is not having any easier of a time than the community is when it comes to this stuff. Everybody is going to try to filter the information through their lens. There are extremely conservative Christians. They're sitting there listening to the congressional hearings, and when he talks about negative ETs hurting people, that's demons to me. What's the difference? So people are hearing it. You know, if you have a Muslim or all these different people hearing the same information, it's going through their filter. And it's going to be very interesting to witness disclosure, you know, as it's happening right now. And, you know, they're only going to be able to get to a certain level disclosing what they're doing now without these 30 or 40 people coming out. And they need this whistleblower law. That's what these real whistleblowers that are waiting in the background are waiting for. And that's the purpose of Grush doing what he's doing. It is to create a situation to where creating a whistleblower bill would be more likely. And then after him, he is just treading the way. He doesn't have any firsthand experiences. And all the people that are behind him, waiting for, you know, him to make certain dominoes fall, they're all going to come out at that point. And all of these people have real evidence that would get them thrown in prison or killed. You know, some of them can come out and put little spins on their information if they wanted, kind of like I did, so I didn't get killed. They can do that, but these people, they witnessed what happened in the disclosure community, how vicious and horrible it is, disgusting. And they decided that they wanted nothing to do with the disclosure community because look how they will be treated. So what they did is they totally rebranded UFOs and aliens into UAPs and non-human intelligence. And as more and more comes out, you're going to see they're going to divorce further and further away from the disclosure community, who thinks they have the real disclosure, which is like, by now there's like 20 different offshoots of people telling stories and leading people down these crooked paths.
So one thing you just said there is that you came out with little spins to make sure you didn't get killed. And are you talking about like names of programs that would be too specific?
Yeah, names of people, names of programs, slightly change, you know, different people involved. I wouldn't have made it as long as I did if I had just told the actual name for Dark Fleet and how it worked and everything. I wouldn't have lasted very long. But yeah, I mean, the people that are about to come out, there's about 30 or 40 of them. I've heard 40 by someone I trust, but when that information comes out, it is going to corroborate so much of what I said and what I have said, except the details are going to be slightly different. You're going to hear real names of things. You're going to hear more of the details, and people are going to say, hey, how did Corey know all this? You know, it's just slightly little changed details. And those are the details that allowed me to stay out in the public. When I leaked, the two biggest things is when I tried to do the unity in the community, the plan was to unify the community for this time. So everyone would be unified, out with our signs, on our email campaigns, doing all of these different things to back up the people that are coming out. But the unity in the community thing just
try to find the part of
was a major backfire. Various beautiful different ETs are fighting the evil forces for us. You can put your head in the sand and sit out this, be a part of your fanciful little stories and say, no, that's too dark. I can't take it. I'm creating a reality to where that's just not. I mean, you're welcome to it, but you're not going to be a part of real disclosure. You're not. So people need to decide, am I going to be a force for disclosure, or do I just want to sit back and hear stories about being liberated and about how these various beautiful different ETs are fighting the evil forces for us? You can put your head in the sand and sit out this incarnation if you want. Those of you who want to, I mean, seriously, I mean, you've been involved in activism, going out to, you've gone out to actual Air Force bases and handed out literature, and I think DVDs.
Yep.
So, you know, we're going to really discuss in this webinar different ways that you can become an activist for disclosure, and not just, you know, one of the, just, they have, China has a pearl string of satellites that shoot microwave lasers into the atmosphere in different areas, and they're spaced apart in their
technologies used by ETs, and how the consciousness technology works with controlling ships, and do they use like computer systems to navigate like we do, or is there on a different level with consciousness technologies?
Well, their technologies are, my brain is slipping, like a prosthetic. Like if you lose an arm, you know, it's a prosthetic, it connects in, but it becomes a part of them. The ship becomes like an extension of their consciousness. They're not experiencing the inside of a cockpit, they're experiencing as the ship. And these ships work through conscious thought and willing and that type of action. But another thing that, one of the things, this technology, it works also like radar. You know how if you're in a mall or a shopping center and you'll feel someone looking at you and you turn and you'll see someone's looking at you? It is that technology. It's the moment you are aware of them, they are aware of you. And it's a very powerful tool for them, not only when they're in conflicts, but just navigating the different planets that they go to. It's handled through conscious interface. They don't have levers and pulleys and all of those crazy things. There aren't really any real moving parts on most of these craft either. And some of the craft exists within another dimension. So if you look at a craft, you're not seeing all of it. Some of it exists partially within another dimension as well. It's going to be interesting to see how this stuff is explained to the public from the nuts and bolts guys that are coming out behind brush.
Yeah. So we got a question, I'm sure, in a lot of people's minds that were just submitted. Corey, can you tell us what is the main cause of the forest fires in Canada and in the U.S.? Do you think the main cause of these fires might be to do with directed energy weapons?
I have been hearing from sources that directed energy weapons have been used not only to start fires in various countries, but they're also being, we're kind of in a weather war with China. We've hit them with 2 typhoons, and I think they're going to make sure that what was going to be a busy hurricane season for us is going to be even more busy. We're already at war. Their satellites are destroying each other. There are all sorts of things going on that most people don't know about. And the satellite warfare is pretty advanced, what they have going on. And they have, China has a pearl string of satellites that shoot microwave lasers into the atmosphere in different areas. And they're spaced apart in their orbit to where, like, if there's one region, a hurricane, as they go by, they start hitting the hurricane in a certain area that makes it stronger. And then as this one goes away, it stops shooting the beam, and then the next one comes across. And they use those same types. Those same types of satellites can be used to start forest fires or attack buildings that they choose to attack.
I want to ask you a question that I think it's a source of a confusion.
pretty wild shit getting talked about by the adults who know what in the hell is going on. And, yeah. Recommend checking into that.